say test. And stream. Okay, is it going to our live?
It says video unavailable. Or you just
No, I'm.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Okay. So where is the stream? Okay. All right. Share. Embed video. Copy. So weebly. We're gonna edit. Okay. Publish. Okay. Publishing. Okay, it should be live. I just need to make sure we are not sending to the other channels.
Yeah, there's no audio right now, yeah?
Is there a way to mute
The audio?
the camera?
No,
is it
just make sure it's off. If it's off, then
Oh.
yeah.
I'm gonna play the slideshow. It says play slideshow from 2 to 2:20. So I'm gonna.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna.
Hold on. Let me. Where is his multiplayer view? A10 switcher. Let me player 2. Nope, that's not even it. Where is? What happened to it? Player 2. What the heck? Media. Okay. Desktop. Did it show up? No. Okay. All right. And then.
Yeah, switch it to the static.
Oh, wrong one. Let me up there. Okay. So you. Oh. Wrong one. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna switch it to the. I'm gonna switch it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, switch it.
X8, right? And
Okay.
Slideshow. Which one is that?
Should play the right
This one.
ones.
Right. Floor plan, timeline, live stream, JPEG. Where's this slideshow?
I'm not sure.
Oh, here, slideshow.
Double click it. Just close that and then full screen it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, click off screen. Okay, never mind.
Oh,
And 5, camera 5.
audio, yeah. Switch out the audio.
Huh?
Audio. No audio. From
Is
this.
there audio?
Yeah, there's audio. So kill the.
Okay, all right. Okay. Are you?
I'm watching it.
Can you just check audio on your stuff?
Is there a mic on somewhere?
Actually,
Oh, something's picking up on our end.
something is picking up.
Is there a mic on somewhere? Yeah, there's a mic on somewhere.
I don't hear a mic on.
I hear someone. I hear us talking.
Oh, hold on.
Do not hasten to bid me adieu, but remember the Red River Valley
Oh, we never know where life will take us. I guess it's just a ride on the wheel. And we never know when death will shake us. And we wonder how it will feel. So goodbye, my friend. I know I'll never see you again, but the times together through all the years will take away these tears. It's okay now. Goodbye, my friend. I've seen a lot of things that made me crazy, but I guess I looked unto you. Would have given up and left, well, maybe, but you held my hand and saw me through. So goodbye, my friend. I know I'll never see you again, but the love you gave me through all the years will take away these tears. It's okay now. Goodbye, my friend. Life's so fragile and love so pure. We can't hold on, but we try. We watch how quickly it disappears, and we never know why. But I'm okay now. Goodbye, my friend. You can go now. Goodbye, my friend.
Come and sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu, but remember the Red River Valley and the cowboy that loves you so true. From this valley they say you are leaving. We will make Come and sit by my side. From this valley they say you are leaving. We will miss your bright eyes and sweet smile, for they say you are taking the sunshine that's brightened our pathway a while. Come and sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu, but remember the Red River Valley and the cowboy that loves you so true.
Oh, we never know where life will take us. I guess it's just a ride on the wheel. And we never know when death will shake us. And we wonder how it will feel. So goodbye, my friend. I know I'll never see you again, but the times together through all the years will take away these tears. It's okay now. Goodbye, my friend. In a lot of things that made me crazy, but I guess I looked unto you. Would have given up and left, well, maybe, but you held my hand and saw me through. So goodbye, my friend. I know I'll never see you again, but the love you gave me through all the years will take away these tears. It's okay now. Goodbye, my friend. Life's so fragile and love so pure. We can't hold on, but we try. We watch how quickly it disappears, and we never know why. But I'm okay now. Goodbye, my friend. You can go now. Goodbye, my friend.
The basic willingness people have had to do
Come and sit
Oh, we never know where life will take us. I guess it's just a ride on the wheel. And we never know when death will shake us. And we wonder how it will feel. So goodbye, my friend. I know I'll never see you again, but the times together through all the years will take away these tears. It's okay now. Goodbye, my friend. I've seen a lot of things that made me crazy, but I guess I looked unto you. Would have given up and left, well, maybe, but you held my hand and saw me through. So goodbye, my friend. I know I'll never see you again, but the love you gave me through all the years will take away these tears. It's okay now. Goodbye, my friend. Life's so fragile and love so pure. We can't hold on, but we try. We watch how quickly it disappears, and we never know why. But I'm okay now. Goodbye, my friend. You can go now. Goodbye, my friend.
Come and sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu, but remember the Red River Valley and the cowboy that loves you so true. From this valley they say you are leaving. We will miss your bright eyes and sweet smile, for they say you are taking the sunshine that's brightened our pathway a while. Come and sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu, but remember the Red
Oh, we never know where life will take us. I guess it's just a ride on the wheel. And we never know when death will shake us. And we wonder how it will feel. So goodbye, my friend. I know I'll never see you again, but the times together through all the years will take away these tears. It's okay now. Goodbye, my friend. I've seen a lot of things that made me crazy, but I guess I looked unto you. I would have given up and left, well, maybe, but you held my hand and saw me through. So goodbye, my friend. I know I'll never see you again, but the love you gave me through all the years will take away these tears. It's okay now. Goodbye, my friend. Life's so fragile and love so pure. We can't hold on, but we try. We watch how quickly it disappears, and we never know why. But I'm okay now. Goodbye, my friend. You can go now.
Oh, hi,
Goodbye, my friend.
Aloha. Am I on? Okay. I just want to say we're going to start in about 5 minutes. So if you do want to get up, because the live streaming starts at that point at 2:30. So if you do want to get up and get a drink of water or whatever, please feel free to do that. And we'll resume in, like I say, 5 minutes. Aloha. Aloha. Obviously, I'm still needing to read this really close to me. Sorry, I thought I had like a 20 font, but it still seems a little small. But we want to say, on behalf of Chris, I'd like to welcome you as we gather to celebrate the life of our friend Punky. Your presence, whether you're family, friend, colleague, or someone whose life he touched, shows a wide circle of love, respect, and gratitude that he inspired. While today may be seen as a day of mourning, it is also a day of reflection and remembrance and even delight as we honor the many roles that Punky filled. He was a trusted leader, a steadfast colleague, a loyal friend, a devoted husband, and a proud dog dad. When Punky arrived at Halekipa, he became and remained my boss until his retirement. Sometimes people confused us, same blonde hair, sometimes his was longer, sometimes mine was short or longer, both from Massachusetts. But we were kind of a yin and yang pair that seemed to balance out each other in the service to Halekipa. It's really exceptional that we're able to hold our celebration of life here at the Pacific Club. Many of our annual meetings happened here with Punky's short Halekipa state of the address, followed by celebrations of staff anniversaries. Those recognitions meant so much to Punky. Honoring staff mattered deeply to him and was an enormous joy for him. My kuleana tonight is just to keep things moving. This is really an informal gathering, and so please feel free. I know some people have to leave early. Feel free to get up, go to the lua in the located in the lobby, get a drink. Following the program, there will be a reception. For years, I played Vanna to Punky's Pat, and being here without him feels strange. But I do feel him in spirit. During the program, I invite you to hold on to the spirit of Punky, his warmth, his integrity, his compassion, and let our memories support us through this special time together. Tonight, we're going to hear some from phenomenal people who worked alongside Punky throughout his illustrious career. We begin with a video from Mike Broderick. He's a kind man of great intelligence, character, and compassion who found a kindred spirit in Punky.
When Chris called to tell me that Punky had passed, I cried hard tears. I cried because I didn't have a chance to say goodbye. I cried because I would never again get to enjoy immensely his wonderful company. I cried because Punky's retirement had simply been too short. And I cried because Hawaii had lost a social service giant. Punky and I were dear friends for over 25 years. Every month, year after year, we had lunch together. I recommended the Pacific Club, but Punky insisted on Hank's hot dogs. He told me he liked the decor better there. We always got the same thing, one andouille, one Chicago hot dog, onion rings, and a lemonade. As we aged, the lunch was hard on our digestive tracts, but Punky said it put hair on our chests. During our many meals together, and I conservatively calculate 100, Punky would always first ask about my adult child with a severe mental illness. He would offer his wise counsel and guidance, and his empathy and care, always. I know there are others here today who Punky helped navigate the hardships of your children. Not because Punky told me, he was too discreet for that, but because you told me, and you told me what his guidance and support meant to you and your loved one who was suffering. Not one lunch passed without Punky bringing up Chris, his beloved life partner of 52 years. He would tell me how she was doing, and his love for her was palpable. Chris, you were Punky's moral compass, the person he told me he could always count on to be there to support and love him. You simply were the love of his life. And no lunch passed without Punky telling me how much Holly Keepa meant to him. When he turned 65, I urged him to retire. His retort was always the same. Mike, there's just too much important work to be done. Year after year would pass until finally, at age 74, he retired. It is a little known fact that Punky started his college education at Dartmouth. He told me he left after 1 year because there was too much privilege and it wasn't edgy enough. Although his Ivy League pedigree is little known, we all know that no matter who was there, Punky was always the smartest in the room. Punky was too humble and too down to earth to ever make you feel intellectually inferior. But we all knew who had the most gray matter. And anybody who says that Punky and Chris had no children couldn't be more wrong. Punky had thousands of children. Children he raised for 53 years. No father was more committed than Punky. No father had more challenging children than Punky. And no father left a stronger legacy as a parent than Punky. After every lunch, and remember, we had more than 100, Punky would send me a long email, anywhere from 1 to 2 pages. His communications were thoughtful, they were provocative, and they made me feel like I mattered. At Punky's retirement dinner, I share with my table of 10 how much those emails meant to me. And then to my surprise, my pleasant surprise, every person at the table, all 9 of them, said they got those same emails too. And here I thought I was special. Turns out Punky sent those emails to everyone he encountered. How blessed we all were. Punky led Holly Keepa for 23 years. And he and the board had a unique arrangement. Every 3 months or so, Punky would take a month off, and he got paid for it. I always told him how incredulous I was that the board would agree to such a thing. And then when Punky announced he would retire, the Holly Keepa board hired me to interview the Holly Keepa staff to find out what qualities they valued in Punky and what qualities they wanted in the next CEO. I fully expected to hear complaints about Punky's special deal with the board. Not one single person brought it up. Instead, here's what they told me. They said Punky was totally committed to the youth and to the families. As one person said, Punky gets our kids. Many said Punky had a great head and heart. There were a constellation of qualities that centered around Punky's heart. These included relatable, down-to-earth, authentic, caring, genuine, and compassionate. One person said, Punky makes you feel great about yourself. Another said, people will follow Punky anywhere. Another said, they don't make people like Punky. They described Punky as creative, a visionary, a strategic thinker, and a systemic thinker. Many people said he was a terrific listener, highly ethical, programmatically knowledgeable, passionate, a financial savant, incredibly smart, a wonderful collaborator, an effective and eloquent communicator, a lifelong learner, and no ego. As one person said, it's never about the Punky show. One word I heard time and time again about Punky was transparent. One person said, with Punky, you know where the organization stands, and you know where you stand. One person captured it best. There simply is no one else like Punky. And as you now would expect, when I asked the employees what they wanted in the new CEO, the universal answer was all the qualities Punky has. At our next lunch, without naming names, I told Punky that in my 45-year career, I had never heard employees speak with such respect, with such reverence, and with such love about their boss. I was so touched that I got emotional. Punky looked at me for a second and said, "Thanks, Mike. Would you like mustard on your hot dog?" Humble to the very end. And even in Punky's death, he taught us a lesson. Punky was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer on July 12th, and he died on August 5th. That is 25 days. In dying, Punky reminded us to cherish life, to hold on tight to those we love, and to never take life for granted. When you see a man completely devoted to his wife, think of Punky. When you see a man change the trajectory of a young person's life, think of Punky. When you receive an email that makes you feel like you count, think of Punky. And when you're with a brilliant man who exhibits humility, grace, and empathy, think of Punky. When Chris called to tell me that Punky had passed, I cried hard tears. But now when I think of him, and I think of him every day, I am filled with gratitude. Gratitude that he was my dear friend, who I loved very much. And gratitude that his beloved Hawaii had him for so many years, enough time for him to impact our community in ways that will live on way past any of our lives. And so yes, there simply was no one else like Punky. Indeed.
Our next speaker is another luminous, gracious, and ethical leader who partnered with Punky on the legendary journey that resulted in Holly Keepa's Eva home base. It was a true work of love. Please welcome Chris Benjamin.
Thank you, Jackie. As Jackie said, my name is Chris Benjamin, and I was honored to work with Punky over a 14-year period on the capital campaign for the new Holly Keepa campus. I see Janice shaking her head that it took us 14 years. It was a labor of love, and many of you in this room were either involved in the campaign or contributors, so thank you very much. But today's about Punky. So when I was thinking about what to say today, I turned to the rich archive of Punky's notes and letters that I saved over the years, just as Mike had and many of you probably did as well. Punky felt and thought deeply and had the rare ability and the vulnerability to express it in writing. I began keeping a physical file of our exchanges about 12 years ago. Punky also shared his thoughts at this podium each year at the Holly Keepa annual meetings. Those were such important nights for Punky, as Jackie alluded to. He relished celebrating the victories and the staff who made them possible, while never letting us lose sight of the challenges still ahead. He wore his heart on his sleeve, and sometimes his speeches were a bit heavy and long, but they always conveyed his undying commitment to the mission and the youth, and they always invited us to think about how we could help. In 2019, Punky wrote, "Our society is polarized more than it's ever been in my lifetime, and it often feels like an insurmountable challenge to do the work we do at Holly Keepa in this environment. But it has never been our mission to do the work because we do because it is easy or convenient. Our entire history has been overcoming challenges and showing up for Hawaii's youth." My correspondence with Punky over the years covered a wide range of topics, often veering off into a deep emotion or an important insight Punky wanted to share. In rereading that correspondence recently, it was an exchange about dogs that I found most representative of what made Punky special. In May 2024, Punky and Chris lost their beloved Chloe. Chloe had come from a farm in Laupahoehoe, where she was an outside dog, and clearly a second-class citizen compared to the two terriers who were the house dogs on that farm. Punky wrote, "When we got Chloe, we made a commitment to her that we would be her forever family. We told ourselves that all she ever wanted was a family where she was special and important and that she could be in the house. So we made a commitment to her, and as you know, that is something that I, and we who work in the field, do well. There's a quality about our commitments to people, and in this case, to our canine family members, that is the equivalent of a contract or bond. I think that sentiment reflects the heart of the man we're celebrating today. He felt that bond and that commitment to every child whose life Halikipa touched. That commitment is the single biggest reason there is a Halikipa campus on Old Fort Weaver Road. There were many contributors to the project, but none would have engaged so passionately without Punky's vision and dedication. The campaign was inspiring because it showed the power of his vision to motivate the selfless acts of so many. Punky died too young, and he couldn't enjoy the kind of retirement he deserved. He knew this was a possibility, but he was committed to getting the campus done before he retired. I'll never forget how happy he was on that day in March 2020 when the new campus was blessed. And actually there's a photo of Chris and Punky on that day in your program. It was really the culmination of not only a 14-year process, but really a career and a tremendous milestone for Halikipa. Punky once wrote the following prophetic words to me. The lessons which are key for me in any experience are that plans are something that people do and life does what it does. What's the saying? People plan and life intervenes. I was again reminded of that since I have plans and things that are on my list of things to do in my life. My father died unexpectedly and never got his bucket list done, which is why I came to Hawaii in the first place. We came to Hawaii the year after he died to fulfill that dream for him, and is one of the things that was on his list that he never got to do. I don't know all that was on Punky's list, and I'm certain that things were left undone, as they will be for each of us. But as I age, I find that the most important things on my bucket list are my family, my friendships, and the impact I can have on my community. Perhaps there were trips and other experiences that Punky didn't get checked off his list. But how rich a legacy he leaves of dedication to family, including the four-legged members, friends, and the community. In 1970, the same year that Halikipa was founded, Punky co-founded a social service agency in central Massachusetts as a 23-year-old Vista volunteer. He then served as its CEO for 28 years. Today, that organization, Luck Inc., is still thriving and fulfilling its mission to challenge and inspire youth, adults, and families to realize their unique potential. It's remarkable that Punky's legacy now includes two organizations that have provided a combined century of essential services to communities at opposite corners of the country. Then again, knowing Punky as we do, we shouldn't find this remarkable at all. Punky believed that real leadership is not about giving orders, but about inspiring vision. One of his favorite sayings, which I was pleased to see is printed on the back of your program, was, if you want to build a ship, don't herd people together to collect wood, and don't assign them tasks and work, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea. That was Punky. He didn't just organize us to complete projects or raise money. He taught us to long for something greater, a community where every young person is seen, valued, and given the chance to thrive. His legacy is not only in the new campus or the programs that endure, but in the way he instilled in all of us that longing for a better world. And because of that, Punky's spirit will keep guiding us like the horizon he always invited us to reach for. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. We're now going to hear from a staff at Halikipa, who's a long-term staff, and it's Beata Saito. To know Beata is to really love Beata. She is one of the most gracious, generous, good people that I know. She's an inspiration to all of us, and she's been a dear friend to Punky and Chris. Please welcome Beata.
Oh, hello, everyone. Well, I wish I could talk as freely as Punky did, but, well, I just will have to read what I wrote for this celebration of life. Thoughts on Punky fill this room with so many emotions and so many memories. A bittersweet occasion when we are celebrating and honoring life of Punky, and at the same time feeling an immense loss. As we arrived at the Pacific Club this afternoon, it felt surreal. I thought surely Punky will come up, welcome everyone, and speak to us, and together we will celebrate Halekipa like we did so many times before. Even though it is hard to accept that Punky is not here, I thought that we will still do what Punky did during our annual meetings. We will celebrate Halekipa together in honor of Punky. I am grateful to have the opportunity of meeting Punky and through him, his beautiful wife, Chris. I do believe that there is a reason why some people cross our path and influence our life. First time I met Punky was 21 years ago, when after being hired by Maria and Jack, I had a follow-up interview with Punky. I was somewhat optimistic about my chances of impressing Punky because I was already employed with Halekipa for a month and passed interview with Jack. So how bad can it be? Well, let me say that I had to work hard to convince Punky that having two, or rather 1.5 Polish people, have been Tracy, in the business office and the agency is not a bad thing. I like to think that after many years, I was able to prove just that to Punky. He knew how to ignite my Polish spirit, and over the years, we had some great, at times energized conversations. We not always shared the same views, yet we understood driving forces behind those views. Punky was always up to date on current events, social issues, and historical accounts. I was amazed at his knowledge and ease with which he communicated that knowledge. He connected with people by learning about them and where they come from. He knew so well that you cannot form a band or help others if you don't know their origin. To help others is to know them. This human connection combined with true passion of helping others made Punky a driving force in the fight for our children, youth, young adults, and families we serve. He had so much aloha, and he understood the struggles of island communities. Punky loved Hawaii and worked and lived by values of love, compassion, respect, humility, responsibility, honesty, understanding, and many more that define him as a caring human being. He wanted people to challenge themselves, to see their potential, to embrace opportunities, to get involved, to ask questions, to have conversation, to stay informed, to speak up, and to never stop learning, yet at the same time to stay respectful, humble, understanding. For me, Punky will always have a special place in my heart. He believed in me and encouraged me to take chances, to strive, to venture into the unknown, and to grow. I will forever be thankful to him for giving me the opportunity to reach higher and to challenge myself. Punky deeply cared about his staff and our emotional, physical, and financial well-being. At times, we struggled, and Halekipa experienced many challenges. One of them was financial crisis of 2008 and uncertainty we faced as an organization. I believe if not for Punky and his strong leadership, we would have not made it. Yet his vision, strong conviction that we can overcome tough times, and dedication to those we serve and to us, his staff, gave us strength and made us persevere. Punky had a special relationship with the board of directors, funders, community leaders, partners, and many others, and worked tirelessly to secure Halekipa's future. When times were tough, I experienced firsthand Punky's problem-solving skills and his unwavering optimism that Halekipa will pass the hurdle and come out even stronger. And where we are today at Old Fort River Road is a testament to Punky's optimism and vision. Another event that had a profound impact on Punky, as on many others, was passing of our controller, Maria. It hit hard. On anniversaries of Maria's passing, Punky would send emails saying, "Maria's passing is always a reminder to me that every day matters." It was so important to Punky, and he tried to instill it in his staff, that we cherish every day because the next is never guaranteed. In Punky's words, treat every moment as though it is precious because it is. Live life fully. Be mindful and be present in everything that you do. Time is not to be wasted, and intentionally is going to assure that you will not look back on your life with any regrets. Before I end, I wanted to share another side of Punky that was so fascinating. The knowledge that Punky had in so many areas was mind-blowing, and so were his communication skills. Some of us witnessed Punky's recall ability as he inserted quotes into his speeches, which, of course, it was all in his head. I was lucky to have Punky share with me his interest in books, music, movies, wine, baseball, and many other topics. We had some great conversation, and I will forever be grateful for that. He also had a great sense of humor, kind of dry sense of humor, which with a perfect delivery. So that was another of Punky's great talents. There was a time that Punky would introduce my colleague Trini and me to Word of the Day. And here are some examples of what words Punky was teaching us. And I hope I can pronounce all of them. Hubris, nefarious, paraprosdokian, lackadaisical. I cannot even pronounce the last one. There were many, many more. I just wanted to give you an idea and show that it was never an easy way with Punky. He knew how to challenge us, and we really thank him for that. I want to end with Punky's quote because it resonates so strongly today. It was from a message written to employees on October 14, 2019, and it was one of our annual meetings. Quote, "I was reminded as I walked out that I annually share with you my hopes that you will seize the moment and you live your life with courage and love. And I would hope for those of you who have heard me speak previously at the annual meeting that you do not find it repetitious when I implore you to be certain that you share those things that truly matter with people you truly care about. That is the essence of what has sustained me in my relationship with Chris over 46 years. And I believe that being able to authentically express our feelings our commitments, and our passion as fundamental to the work we do. I would hope you would always take that advice if you do not listen to anything else I say. Thank you again, Punky.
And now I'm pleased to welcome Mike Magawai, who has been a long-term board member for Hale Kipa and is our current board president.
Good afternoon, everybody. If Punky is looking over us, he'd probably be smiling from ear to ear to hear all these boring speeches and all you guys respecting him for what he does, because he's a very simple person. Anyway, Hale Kipa Ohana expressed our deepest sympathy to the Cross Ohana and Chris on the passing of our dear friend, Punky Pletan-Cross. When I first met Punky, I was a House of Representative representing District 45 North Shore. When he came to my Capitol office to pitch to me on who, what Hale Kipa does and requesting state funds to build a new office on Old Fort River Road in Eva. During that time, I was the Granite Aid Subcommittee Chairman for the House Finance Committee. One thing that impressed me about Punky is his no-nonsense nuance and his casual demeanor and how he dressed with his long flowing blonde hair, his straight talk, his wealth of knowledge, and his respect for everyone he encounters and his humility. He likes to use quotes from respective individuals in his speech as I do. Punky was a natural leader. I offer some quotes of leadership. Leadership is the art of giving people a platform for spreading ideas that work. Seth Goodwin. Leadership is not a position or a title. It is action and example. Good leaders inspire people to have confidence in the leader. A great leader inspires people to have confidence in themselves. Eleanor Roosevelt. If your action inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. John Quincy Adams. 2010, as a retired House of Representative and Vice Speaker of the House of Representative, Punky reached out to me to be part of the Hale Kipa Board, Ohana, in 2011. My response was a solid affirmation. I was nominated to the chairman of the board of directors at Hale Kipa in 2023. Punky, Hale Kipa Board of Directors, past and present, which we have here, and to our good friend Chris Benjamin on the Capital Campaign Committee work, tirelessly to secure financing to build new headquarters on Old Fort River Road in Eva. The new headquarters was completed and ground blessing was on December 4, 2018. November 23rd, 2021, Punky's CEO last report on his closing remarks, as I quote, "I have really enjoyed my time at Hale Kipa. Each day, I continue to do my best to fulfill my sense of responsibility as the CEO, and will right up until my last day. More than anything, I appreciate you as a board, the staff of the agency, our foster parents, and our collaborators in the community. But most of all, I remain honored and humbled that the youth, young adults, and families trust us enough to allow us to work with and serve them." In closing, Punky, my friend, I would like to leave a quote from Saint Mother Teresa. "I am not sure exactly what heaven will be like, but I don't know that when we die, it comes time for God to judge us. He will not ask, 'How many good things have you done in your life?' Rather, he will ask, 'How much love did you put into what you did?'" Rest in peace, Punky, and may perpetual life shine upon you. Ahoy-ho. Thank you.
We are now going to switch to a video from Luck, As Chris shared, Punky founded Luck in his early 20s and helped shape it into a premier Massachusetts agency. He also remained committed to its growth throughout his entire career. We're indebted to Luck's influence on Punky, and we're grateful that they shared him with Holly Keepa.
The basic willingness people have had to do what needs to be done regardless of what it was. You know, I'm always amazed by that. The agency still takes the toughest kids and still believes in empowerment and emancipation, and they're not hollow words. You know, we don't do therapy. That isn't what we're about. What we do is we empower and we help people achieve their potential, and we're working with that as a philosophy. I'm incredibly proud of the people that have worked here.
He came into the communities of North Central Massachusetts and saw the problems that were there. Instead of feeling daunted by it, he figured out a solution and he made it happen. He was clearly somebody who was on a journey, and he had a map and a compass, and I'm just glad that he was there to lead. The agency has had a lot of meaning in my life, and I think of him as a mentor and think of him fondly.
Punky in those days was a very non-traditional person, and he had just come off of his Vista experience and was very idealistic and really wanted to do community service. The interesting thing, looking back, is that Luck is still that non-traditional social service agency.
I met Punky in 1993. Even though I was in my 40s then, I lacked confidence in myself. Punky believed in me before I believed in me. But Punky didn't just believe in me, he believed in everyone's potential. I remember when he hired a woman who was part of the Framingham 8, a group of women who were incarcerated for murdering their abusive partners. It was a courageous thing to do at that point, but that was what Punky did. He walked the talk, as we used to say. So I sincerely thank Punky for his part in my life.
I've had probably the most amazing successes, the most profound failures at this agency, and with every one I've learned incredible lessons. Punky and Chris have both pushed me to be whatever I needed to be for myself, and Punky and Chris have made it a place, made me understand that I need to keep reaching and growing, and I've done some incredible things in the last few years that have surprised me.
I distinctly remember the first time I met Punky. I'd arrived at the Luck office. He was sitting on the desk in the waiting room, just sitting there greeting people. I walked in asking for Kathy Pletan-Cross. He told me that there was no one there by that name, and for what felt like an eternity, he just kind of, with that silly smile of his, played with me around who I was there to look for. I did not know that Kathy and Chris were the same person. That was the first challenge he gave to me, first of many challenges he gave to me over the years that we worked together. I was incredibly blessed to work with him and truly can't imagine any better person to have learned from as a young professional. He at one point called me tenacious. I wasn't sure if that was good or bad, but then I've seemed to have really relished that term and have really felt like that described who I was throughout my whole career. I especially like that Punky taught us how to work in community, that we did not have to do everything in the community, but that there were partners in the community that knew the people that we served better than we did and were there to be supported as other agencies. And that is something that I'll take with me forever. He will truly be missed.
I was honored to actually meet Punky in 2020. He's a remarkable person. He's one of these folks that you actually get to know in your own way. And so while I had him at a pedestal before knowing him, I realized he was Punky. He was normal. He was somebody that could connect with me, ask some really great questions that got me thinking. He cared about the community, but he also got it. He got how challenging it can be to be a leader in an organization and how that can wear on somebody. And you know, when somebody gets it, you just know. You know through the way they laugh, you know through the way they get you, how they say things. And Punky did all that. I really was thankful that I had that time, and I am wishing everybody well and thinking of his family and friends in the future. And so glad that I have a little piece of that spirit helping me lead this organization that he started. So thank you.
One of my earliest memories of Punky, 1981. I had not yet been at Luck a year. Punky had already impressed me as being highly intelligent, having interest and expertise in a wide range of subjects. Funny, wholly committed to the agency and the community. But there was something else, simultaneously palpable and hard to define. He felt safe. As a 31-year-old gay Latino, I was still cautiously navigating a heterosexual, frequently homophobic world. Punky felt safe and welcoming, and because of him, the agency also felt safe and welcoming. And so one day, when we were both in the kitchen at 99 Day Street, I told him that I was gay, and that I hoped that it wouldn't be a problem for my employment at Luck. His response came quickly, sincerely, and heartfelt, with the smile I came to love. Just don't wear taffeta, it's too loud. This was Punky, honest, humorously straightforward, instinctively knowing just the right words to say, gentle. And to boot, a straight man who knew what taffeta was. I was home. Thank you, Punky, for all you did and all you were. I still admire you, appreciate you, and above all, I still love you.
My experience with Punky has been that he gave me my first professional job. And he did such a good job of hiring me that I stayed for 40 years. We had a great relationship as far as I'm concerned. He wasn't my direct supervisor, but he definitely mentored me. And I guess he had a lot of faith in me because he and a couple other people allowed me to watch their dogs while they were in Hawaii. So that was very nice. But so I do have a lot of appreciation for what Punky was able to instill in me in terms of the mission of the agency. And it allowed me to stay there for 40 years.
I can still vividly remember my first day, my interview as a matter of fact, where we sat and probably talked, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes, had a fabulous conversation. I thought, oh, I've got some skills I can bring to this. At the end of the interview, he says, okay, that was great, but you need to know that the job I'm going to offer you was nothing that you interviewed for. And I felt like that kind of set the tone for what the majority of my life at Luck was often like. It was a pretty amazing conversation, a pretty amazing beginning, and a road that went lots of places from there.
Boy, it's so nice to come in here and be paid to think.
I, in 71, as a 15-year-old, signed up for the hotline training. The leader of that, of course, was Punky at the time. He ran the training.
His name's Punky?
Yeah,
Punky. Wow.
And I said, this guy is so crazy, I'm going to work for him. He hired me in 72. He fired me in 74. I then rehired me in 79, working until 85, and then came back again for my third of the Moth to the Flame in 95. It can't be understated, his mentoring roles for all of us, for lots of us. We were kids. The fact that he really always was a kid was really helpful as in his mentoring role. So I say oftentimes that I had a love-hate relationship with him. If I had a chance, I'd push him off a cliff and kill myself trying to catch him at the bottom. So
I had this really weird thing on my resume. I don't know why I put it on, because I had some experience camping and doing canoeing. I put one of my skills was axemanship. But of course, that's where Punky went right in there. Like, what are you talking about? So we then had a conversation about that. But that was him, curiosity, and was pulled to just getting to know you and trying to figure all that out.
He always had the best questions, and there was always meaning under the questions. I will say that Luck was a very different place from where I came from previously, being interviewed by Dave and Amy and Laura Gentas, and felt right at home. And they didn't want to know if I could do the mechanics of the job. They wanted to know who I was. And that is absolutely what I feel like Luck does and is why we're so successful. Part of who Punky was with me and also all of you is this idea of authenticity, and that's super important in the work.
Pretty cool to see the threads that hold it together, the common things, the culture, the understanding of where Punky was trying to meet you where you were, and how everybody was different. I was a young kid, I was in my 20s. I didn't know it at the time, but you know, when you start looking back, in all the stories I've heard from all the different people and seeing the reflection of Punky in them, how the culture of the organization is. But Punky was really meeting you where you were, understood more than you probably could at that time, wherever you were. He'd ask you questions. And it wasn't because he didn't know the answers as much as he wanted to help you and facilitate that process. That's a pretty cool thing. That's a pretty cool thing, because everybody, you know, we come with our egos and things. What a valuable person he was, not just in what he did and all the things we could measure and we could easily talk about, but instilling a culture in an organization, one person at a time, through authenticity, discussion, everybody having a say. How important that is, that you be heard. And if you're the quiet one, what do you think? That's unbelievable.
My family had lived in that neighborhood between 2 blocks of North Street and Day Street for over 50 years. So I knew about Puck by just being a kid, running around the building, getting chased off the lawn. We used to get kicked off the property and some guy would come out and say, "Hey, get out of here." Right? So, and that was Punky. But in 1991, I needed a job. I had just recently broken my ankle playing softball, and I was in crutches in a suit. And Punky came downstairs in blue jeans and a t-shirt, and we go to his office, the executive suite, and he said, "Well, how are you doing? What happened?" He said, "Well, I'm sliding into third base. I broke my ankle. I'm looking for a job." So we started talking about where social services were going and my past experiences. He said, "Mike, you know what? I really have to ask you a question." And he was a pitcher in softball. So he would say, "I'm really trying to get the outside corner from the umpires, but I know I'm throwing illegal and I keep getting called illegal." So I said, "Well, this is what you do to get away from that." You know? 2 months later, I got the call and said I had the job. And he said, "There's one other thing I want you to do, is never to wear a suit and tie in this building again. It scares people." So I took him on his word. I'm wearing this shirt in honor of Punky, Aloha Friday. That's one of the traditions. He was really a mentor of mine. Really sorry I never said goodbye and thank you. But goodbye for now, and thank you very much.
Authentic, grassroots, like walk in the door and get what you need. It's passed on from a lot of the people who had the closer relationships with Punky. Anyone who comes in and interviews with me, I ask them, first of all, why they're wearing a suit, you know? And then, you know, well, if you work here, you won't ever want to do that again. It really is about who are you and why do you want to do this? The why. And realizing that the why always is a little bit personal. You know, it needs to be personal if people are going to stick around. I really enjoyed like quarterly meetings, we used to call them. I enjoyed the sort of all of the systems. It was my first real professional job. And when he hired me, he's like, "So we're gonna put you in this program that's a mess." I'm like, "What?" You know, stuff has happened. It's a rebuild time, energy that needs to be managed. And I'm like, okay. You know, it's like, okay, this program's good. You're going here. And I appreciated that. I appreciated the faith that he and other people had in me to be able to do that. And clearly there's something about the culture and what luck means that has kept me around for 32 years this year. Longest relationship I've ever had. You're passionate about something, you make things work, and people are like, go for it. You know what I mean? And I feel like you can't do that everywhere.
He never denied that, bad things in the world happened to people because you didn't necessarily make great decisions, but you could walk through the door and be met where you were at, where you were coming from, and it would be about what do you need in this moment to move forward. Punky had a way. Punky would facilitate a process where it was about taking risk in ways that facilitated connection. It was about interdependence. It was about acknowledging our need for each other in order to take risks to move forward. And I have this very vivid image of there was this great big wall, and we all would line up, staff included, and you could only get up over the wall by virtue of the help from the person in front of you and then the people that were left behind you and one other person you could pick to be at the top of the wall. Punky was always at the top of everybody's wall, and you would get boosted up and pulled up, and you would inevitably end up having to reach up, and it would be Punky's hand that you would take. And it was so metaphorical, it was so symbolic, it was so, for the kids, for us as staff, it was that hand reaching out and in the belief that you were gonna make it up over the wall. Not that it wasn't gonna be hard, not that you weren't gonna be swearing the whole way up the wall, but you knew you were gonna get there because he offered you that hand,
He would offer you that hand, but he wasn't going to sit down at the bottom cheering you on. I mean, he was not a cheerleader, He was like, you make the effort, I'm there to help you. You don't make the effort, good luck to you. He challenged you, I think it was the beginning of my third tour at Luck. I think one of the first things I had to do was to go off and negotiate the tea house contract in Boston with DCF. DCF had decided they wanted daycare right in the program. And we were all pretty clear that that was a really bad idea for the clients. So he said, go off to Boston, negotiate this, make sure they take it out, don't come back if you don't. No pressure. He was a collector of things, and his office at Day Street had these weird collections. For instance, any weapon we ever confiscated as a kid would end up in a drawer at his. And when he left,
The nunchucks. The metal
nunchucks. Someone had welded together metal pipes and a metal
I remember
chain
those.
on it. He had,
just in case you got out of hand in supervision.
Yep. But he also had on that, he had a hat rack, a coat rack.
Yes.
And there was a tie on there. And if you had to go to court, you had to go to Punky and say, can I borrow the agency's tie to wear to court? So we all wore the same tie to court.
He knew you had the capacity before you knew it. And so I remember there was a supervisor or leader, and he rather rapidly and suddenly left the organization. And I remember sitting with Punky. He looked at me and said, Dave, I want you to be a supervisor and a program leader at this point. I know you're really not ready. You probably need about another year or two. But it's that kind of thing, which is he saw potential where I didn't see it. You have situations where you're put in a position to either step up to the plate or not. But it was honest, like you're not ready, really. But that's okay. I'm here. We'll do it together.
I believe I'm the only one that has ever been hired at one position and maintained that throughout my entire career. At 99 Day Street, the entire agency could fit into one room. When I first came in, he said, Mike, you have to have more of a voice in management team. Since growing from about 1.2 million when I came in 91, to somewhere over 33 million now. I just look back and just by amazement of all the, everything that Punky instilled in us, caring about people, providing good service, making sure that we're financially responsible, Those were all the things that he instilled in us. And we take some of the toughest cases, and some of the needs of the family are so great. We do that every day, and we come back the next day, really respectful the amount of work that all of us have done together, and instilled that by Punky being the leader. It's just remarkable of where we are right now and where we hope to be in the future.
You've been an extraordinary and talented and entrepreneurial person to work with. And I think that you're
I have had the privilege of being influenced by all of you in some meaningful way, and I take pieces of that experience as I go. The reality is that leadership is about being able to hear the voices of all those who are involved in the process and finding some way to facilitate a collective vision about what it is we need to do. I do agree with Maya Angelou's comment. When she talked about differences, what she said is we are all human, and that is what makes us common. I don't know how to thank you exactly. I've been able to live my values. I've been able to do something I love. I've gotten up every morning for 28 years, never once regretting going to work, never once saying to myself, I don't want to work today. What overwhelms me, I guess, as I think about all this is really the extent to which we've been able to connect as people and get to do one of the best jobs in the world.
It's very nice. We'd like to, in a couple of minutes, we'd like to open up the room for people to come up and give a short comment if they'd like to, or share a remembrance. Prior to that, I do have 2 letters to read from people who could not be here but wanted to share some thoughts. One is from Ryan Kuzumoto. Ryan is an illustrious collaborative leader of PACT. I find him to be a sort of a passionate truth teller and community advocate. He says, aloha, Chris, family and friends. First of all, I am sorry I'm unable to celebrate Punky's amazing life. There are people in life who leave a lasting impression on you, both personally and professionally. Punky was definitely one of those individuals for me. I still remember the first time I heard his name, I thought to myself, really, is his name Punky? But over time, as I got to know him better, I realized his name carried with it a sense of authenticity, warmth, and presence that only he could embody. As a young and new CEO, I was searching for my footing in what can often feel like a lonely and isolating role. I met Punky on December 16th, 2014. I can actually pinpoint the date because if you've had the opportunity to talk with Punky, you will know he always follows up that conversation with an email that captures almost every part of your conversation with him. That said, Punky was one of those colleagues who reached out to me with kindness. He offered positive words of advice, and more importantly, he sought out ways to build partnerships between Hale Kipa and parents and children together. You don't know how much that meant to me when you're new in leadership, and I was deeply grateful for him. Punky was more than just a professional colleague to me. He was a true friend. He was someone I trusted in this sector, someone with whom I could put everything on the table. No matter what I brought to him, he was a steady hand, listening with patience, offering thoughtful support, drawn from his many years of service here in Hawaii and his experiences back in Massachusetts. I'll never forget how happy he was when I told him my daughters would be attending Northeastern University and Boston University. His eyes lit up as he shared stories about his old stomping grounds. He told me about the colleges, the neighborhoods, and the places that still held meaning for him. Those conversations were filled with joy. He loved to share, and in doing so, he connected past and present in such a generous way. As I mentioned earlier, you knew that every good conversation with Punky didn't end when the meeting ended. It was followed by an email, probably the longest one that you would receive that day. But those emails were never just long, they were thoughtful. They reflected how deeply he listened and how carefully he considered what had been shared. In a world where so much distracts us from truly caring, Punky reminded me of how important it is to slow down and to listen and to let people know they've been heard. That was his gift to so many of us. When I heard of Punky's passing, I reached out to others who knew him well. One former Halekipa board member, Katie Bennett, reminded me that one of the best ways to honor him is to look back through his old emails, to see again his wisdom, his encouragement, and his care. And in doing so, I reminded of the goodness of who Punky was to all of us. He left us with lessons that will live on. Leadership, longevity, and balance. That leadership is a marathon, not a sprint. Commitment. That deep impact comes from staying long enough to truly understand. Curiosity. That every conversation is a chance to learn, not just respond. Collaboration. That partnership is always a choice and one worth making. Mentorship. That investing in emerging leaders is the key to the sector's future. He did this for me. Contextual leadership, that leadership must adapt to people and places, not the other way around. Chris, to you and your family, please know that Punky's impact will continue to ripple through this community for many years to come. He was a mentor, a colleague, and a friend who embodied aloha and how he led, listened, and lived. I will always remember him with gratitude, and I will carry forward the lessons he lived so well. Mahalo, Ryan. The second person is Chris Kubo. Chris Kubo is a financial whiz, as Punky was, and a trusted friend, and he worked closely with Punky to bring solid plans and benefit plans to Halekipa. Chris shares, "It feels as though I've known Punky my entire life, yet our connection spans only 14 years. I first met him on the job in his element. I had just taken on the role of investment advisor for Halekipa's retirement plan and was asked to attend an introductory meeting with him. It was, of course, the first time I had ever met someone named Punky. I was intrigued and, I'll admit, a little intimidated. I arrived early at Halekipa's Pi'ikoi offices and waited nervously in the conference room, preparing to meet the CEO. Soon the door opened, and in walked Punky. Despite being 6 inches shorter than me, his presence filled the room. He was a force of nature, yet at the same time, I was disarmed by his humor. So this is our new investment guy? Well, welcome to Halekipa. That moment marked the beginning of our 14-year relationship. Punky was unlike anyone I'd ever met. His personality blended a local sensibility with Midwestern warmth, something I connected with right away. He was whip smart, but more than that, he was kind. About 10 years ago, I went through one of the most difficult periods of my life. I had separated from my wife and was navigating the enormous challenges of raising 4 young children. I was not in good shape mentally or physically. Through it all, Punky never failed to start our meetings with the same question: how are your kids? He didn't ask this casually. He truly wanted to know. He cared. That is the Punky I knew and will always remember. His caring compassion left a lasting impression on me. I will miss our meetings, his wit, his knowledge, his advice, and most of all, his heart. May his memory always be a blessing. At this time, is there anyone who would like to come up and share a few words? Any remembrances or any thoughts? Funny story? Please come up and, yeah. Please introduce yourself and please share. Thank you.
O awake kako o wauka ili kamai no au ia wawa o Waianae. Good afternoon. My name is Larry Kaili Kamai, and I'm from Waianae. I worked for Halekipa back in the 90s, before, uh, shortly before Punky came on board. 'Cause I was a young man, I was a young man. 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 My first thoughts, folks got to put this in perspective. I'm a native Hawaiian. So when I heard we're getting a new leadership coming in, it's like, okay, let's see where this is going to go. When I heard it was, we're getting somebody in from America, I'm like, okay. And then from the East Coast, okay. You know, those of you that know our history. Before Punky got here, he already had 2 check marks in my negative column. Within a couple months after he got here, after listening to his introduction and what his thoughts were, I was like, okay, let's see where it goes. Within a year, we started selling off some of our properties and reducing our staff. Those check marks turned to X's. It was like, just what I thought. However, during that phase, I learned that this man knew what he was doing, knew what he was talking about, and how to express it. While we were in the process of losing some staff, I was one of those in between where I could come, I could go. He just casually mentioned, you should hang around for a while. But there was no position for me. I spent almost 3 weeks in the office in Manoa, filing papers, writing up papers, doing non-essential stuff. And finally, I got assigned to the Halekipa Outreach Ho'okipa program. I love that program. The people I worked with, outstanding. And, I realized that, God, this guy saw something in me that I didn't, because I was just trying to work part-time, trying to get through college, and then I had a family too. But because of Punky, he's giving me a different perspective on life. And Chris, thank you for sharing him with us. Before I close, I'd like to say a quick ole, if you folks don't mind. Mahalo i o ke aku manalani, mahalo I ke po I ke ala. Mahalo me na amakua, me na kupuna, me na makua. Ho'opu mai kai kia kane. Punky Pletan-Cross. Po mai kai ke wahine Chris. Me na ohana I ke ala. A mama wono. Mahalo.
Share something. Okay. Punky gave us all lessons, some easy, some harder, but always with the goal of growth. I believe we're all better for having walked beside him. May we honor his legacy by carrying forward his many values, working together, lifting each other up, and leading with heart. On behalf of Chris, please, again, thank you for coming. And to paraphrase one of the ways that Punky always said, a hui ho. While life is short and unpredictable, relationships are everlasting. So please tell at least one person today that you love them. Now please stay, mingle, catch up with friends, and then head home safely with joy in your heart. Mahalo for attending today. Thank you.